Hey everybody, this is December the 7th, 2022. I'm in my woods. Um, I felt led today to do a video and to talk to y'all about the frequencies and the microwave frequencies and the radiation that's coming from them, and try to put together everything that I've done for it, because a lot of people are saying, well, you know, what did you do to stop it? I mean, I've talked about a lot of the things that I've done, to stop it, but I haven't really went into detail about everything that I've done. So I'm going to try, if I can remember everything, because my memory is not that good, but I'm going to try to go back, you know, to the beginning, and I'm going to try to explain in detail what happened to me as far as the frequencies and the radiation, and then what I did, or each step that I took to remedy it. And maybe this will help somebody else that's going through it. So it all started, well, it could have been going on, longer, but when I became aware of it was in 2020, as when I started having these frequencies hitting my head at night. I was having like these sharp or blasts of energy just shooting through my skull, and it just felt like electricity going through my head, and I had these noises in my head, and I could hear voices in my head and all kind of stuff, and my ears was like, I had this piercing, sharp sounds that were hitting my ears, ringing sounds that were hitting my ears, and pain was shooting through my ears, and I mean, my ears was ringing so like, I mean, my ears and my head, it was like my ears and my head had been attacked. Okay, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I was a total wreck. I couldn't figure out what was going on, and I tried to talk to my family about it, but they were like, "Oh, you're just crazy, she just went bonkers, she's imagining all this." But yeah, so I was kind of like isolated from my family, for a long time, because they didn't believe me. But right away, I figured out that it was coming from the electrical system, because, I mean, if you got energy shooting through your head, then it don't take a smart person to figure out that there's something going on with the electrical system. So I had somebody come out and check it out, and all they found was like the grounding rod. The grounding rod that connected to the pole had been taken loose and was like laying just. It had been taken loose and just laying on the ground. So he reconnected that, and that helped some. But I was still having the frequencies hitting my head. I was still having the frequencies hitting my ears, and I was still having the noises inside my head, and I didn't. I was doing everything. That's when I was just totally just devastated by all this. But that's when I started making my full hats and wearing my full hats, and that helped at night. Sometimes I was even sleeping with metal pots over my head. I just could not stand the frequencies that was hitting my head. Okay. I was not aware at the time that it was the Morgellons inside my head that was reacting to the frequencies. I figured that out later. But I started meditating about it, and I started asking God to help me, and He started showing me some things that I could do. And so that's when I started using the magnets, and found out that the magnets does work. The magnets will deactivate the Morgellons in the brain, and the magnets will help reduce the frequencies that hit your brain. Now, if you can remove the Morgellons or the nanotechnology from your head, then you'll see a big decrease in how it affects the frequency, or how the frequencies hit you. There'll be a significant reduction in the frequencies that hit your head if you can remove the Morgellons, or better known as the nanotechnology, because once the Morgellons or the nanotechnology gets stabilized inside the brain, then your whole head turns into like an antenna for the frequencies. And see, they know this, the powers that be know this, and that's why they're doing it. So once your head becomes an antenna, all they got to do is increase the frequencies in your home, and they head straight towards your head because that's the antenna. So the idea is to deactivate the antenna or the receiving antenna, or deactivate the Morgellons in the brain. So I started using the magnets, and I started using the essential oils on my head. I think I used I started making the full hats, and I was using a lot of metal, a lot of metal things at that time. And then when I realized that the magnets was working, I started taping the magnets, the small magnets, inside of my full hat, and I started wearing that at night, and that did help a lot to deactivate the Morgellons and reduce the effects of the technology. Now the technology was still coming inside the house. I mean, the frequencies were still being pulsed inside the house through the smart meter outside. Okay, it goes through the smart meter, goes through your electrical lines, and then comes out inside your house, out through your electronics and everything that's electric. Okay, it also comes out through your electrical outlets. I didn't know this. I found this out when I had one catch on fire inside my house one night. I actually heard something banging on the wall. It sounded like something hitting the wall, inside the wall. And at first I thought, well, I had a rat. But when I put my head down next to it, to the wall, some of the radiation came out of the electrical outlet and went straight up my nose. So that's how I figured out that the frequencies, or the EMF radiation, was coming out through the electrical system. Okay. And so what they did was they were pulsing that, they were hitting that electrical outlet, or the wiring. They were hitting the wiring. Well, the pulses were coming through the wiring, hitting the electrical outlet, and it caused a fire. So I had to have an electrician come out and replace that outlet. And then that's when I started covering up all my electrical outlets. I got some metal, not metal, but I got some of those aluminum, those aluminum pans you can get, to cook with and stuff. I got a bunch of those deep pans, and I started covering all my electrical outlets. And believe it or not, that did help a lot, decreasing the frequencies and the radiation that was coming from through the electrical outlets. And then I was still having the radiation that was getting in the house, and mine was so bad I could actually see it. It was like a thick fog all over my house, the radiation was. So I knew that I had to do something else. So then that's when I started turning off the breakers outside at my box. I just started turning off the breakers in the rooms that I didn't use, and that helped, but I was still getting the radiation in the house, so I turned off more breakers, and I finally ended up turning all of them off except for one in the kitchen, and I just started running extension cords, from the kitchen to the places that I needed to be, and I just kind of shut off the rest of the house. But eventually they did start hitting the outlets in the kitchen and all, and I ended up, and then I had to start narrowing it down to just one breaker, and now I'm spending all my time unplugging and the extension cords and plugging in what I need. I mean, it's just a nightmare. But this went on. It started in 2020. It was still going on, but eventually I got after I kept eliminating things, after I kept covering up my electrical outlets and removing I started removing the electronics from my home. I removed my computer. I had to have all of that taken out. I removed my computer, my cable TV. I removed everything that was internet connected. Anything that's wireless in your home, they're going to hit that first and beam the radiation in your house. So anything that's wireless, you'll have to you'll have to remove from your house or put away. Now, the things that I could put down, I got a big metal box, and the small things like small radios or flashlights or anything that's electric that you can put down inside them and keep the lid real tight, because these energy vampires, when they come out, they can get inside these boxes, so you're going to have to make sure they're secure. Anyway, I put the small things down inside a metal box, made sure the top was covered tight so they couldn't get in it. And the more that I eliminated in my house, the more electric things that I eliminated in my house, the better the better it got. I mean, the EMF radiation was it was decreasing, and I could tell it. You know, so I got rid of my TV, got rid of my computer, I got rid of some iPad, I got rid of. I kept my phone. Of course, I kept my phone, but I still have to keep my phone locked away in a metal box every night. I actually keep it in an ammunition box that I got, that my brother gave me, army box. You know, those kind of metal box, ammo boxes. And then after I eliminated all the electronics from my home and everything that was electric that I knew they could hit, then I noticed that I was still having the radiation in the house, and so I thought, well, what did they hit? Where is it coming from? Everything has been, I've eliminated everything, so what are they hitting? And then that's when I realized that they were hitting my batteries in my flashlight, the batteries in my remote control, any kind of, even the batteries that you got. You can have batteries in your drawer. They can hit those. They can use those batteries that you got inside your drawer. Anything in your drawer that's battery operated, a calculator, anything that has a battery in it, they can hit that battery, and they can beam the electromagnetic frequencies or radiation inside your home with these things. So when I realized that they were hitting the things that run on batteries, then I was having to go through every drawer in my house, every little dish I had that had something in it. Even my watch that had a battery in it, they were hitting that. And I was trying to eliminate all the battery operated devices, and then after I did that, they were still hitting me somehow, and I couldn't figure out. I stayed up. I can't tell you the nights I stayed up all night trying to figure out what was it in my house that they were hitting. Okay. And then I realized one night that they were hitting the electrical. I had some electric skillets and electric pots that I was using. Because I was having some problems with my gas, but the gas is going to be another video. That's another subject. But I didn't realize that they could hit the electric skillets. But they can hit, if you got like an electrical skillet that has the elements on the external, like if you have the kind where you have to plug, the elements into, or the plug into the pot. I'll have to show you, because I don't know what you call it to explain it, but I'll have to show you what I'm talking to you. But if you've got an electric skillet or a crock pot that has the external elements on it, where it plugs in, then they can hit that. But if it's just a electric pot that has, that just has a cord that's attached directly to it, they don't seem to be bothering them. It's just the ones that has external elements. So when I realized that, I started putting my electrical pots and skillets down inside. I had to get a metal. I had to get one of those metal trash cans, and I just started throwing I started putting my electrical skillets and stuff down in there, and sealing the lid up tight. And then that seemed to help a lot. And then I was still having the EMFs, and that's when I started realizing that they were there was something else that they were hitting that I wasn't aware of. And I noticed one day when I was outside that I was sensing the radiation outside. So I said, well, they're hitting something outside. So that's when I became aware of the outside electrical outlets that they were hitting outside. Now, they can plug up to your outside electrical outlets that you have around your house and then beam the radiation through the windows. So I had to cover up all my outside electrical outlets. I had to cover the my breaker box outside because they can beam the weapons through. They can beam the weapons straight inside your breaker box and make all of that energy pulse through your breakers and then out through inside your house. So I had to cover the inside of my breaker box with bubble foil. I put some foam over it first, then I put the bubble foil over that. Then I had to tape up the outside of the box, try to keep them out of that. Then I had to go, when I realized that they were hitting the breaker box, then I had to go inside because I had 2 breaker boxes inside. So I went in, and so I had to cover the breaker boxes inside just like I did the one outside, and that eliminated a lot of the EMF radiation inside the house. And then after that, it got better for a while, and then it started again. Started hitting me again. I going, oh no, now what? So now I'm outside again. I'm trying to figure out what they're hitting. And then that's when I started having dead batteries in my truck and my car. I mean, I put like 3 new batteries in my truck. So I couldn't figure out why it kept going dead. So I was having to replace the batteries, and I had to put 2 in my car. And so that's when I realized that they were hitting the batteries in the car. I also had the same issue with my lawnmower, my riding lawnmower. The battery was going dead in it. They were hitting that. So the truck, I finally, after buying the 3rd battery for the truck, I just decided to park it. I said I'm not buying no more batteries for it, so I decided to park it. So I let it sit. My car, I just try to keep my car as far away from my house as I can, so they can't hit the battery. And my lawnmower, I had to lock it up in the barn, and try to cover it and protect it. And then after that, after I eliminated everything outside that had a power source, then they were still hitting me somehow, or the radiation was still coming through the window. So then I just happened to be outside one day, and I noticed my security cameras on my house, and I thought, wow, yeah, there's batteries in those security cameras. So then I realized they were hitting the security cameras and beaming them inside my window. So I had to rip the security cameras off outside of my house. Now listen, folks, yeah, this is a radical change you have to make if you want to eliminate this. And a lot of people are not going to want to do this. I understand that. A lot of people are not going to want to remove all their electronics and electrical devices in their home, and they're not going to want to take their security cameras off. They're just not going to want to do this. But I'm telling you, it's necessary if you want to survive this, okay? I don't know. I mean, somebody might have another way of fixing things. I don't know, but I'm just telling y'all what I had to do, because I mean, I'm not a person who can do a lot of work on things or try to repair things or try to. I don't think that I would have been able to cover my security cameras and keep them from getting in them. What I'm saying, I just had to just rip them off the outside of the house. But anyway, yeah, and I just kept eliminating things, and it took me 3 years to figure all this out. Or with God showing me, it took me 3 years, and it was a gradual process. It didn't happen overnight. But I had to eliminate everything in my house that was electric, and all my electronics. And I had to cover all my electrical outlets. I had to cover all of my windows. I had to cover all of my breaker boxes inside and out. And in order to stop it. And then, after that, I noticed that the radiation was still finding a way in there. And that's when I discovered that it was coming up around the cracks. It was coming up around the baseboards and the crown molding. I never thought that it would come up around that. But then when I got to thinking about it, well, if it's coming out through the electrical outlet, you know, or coming up inside the walls, and if it's coming out through the wires, you know, inside the walls and out through the electrical outlet, then of course it can come out through around the baseboards and the crown molding. So that's when I had to start sealing the cracks around the crown molding and the baseboards in the house. I had to seal the cracks around the door. I just got to where I just didn't open my door anymore. I just sealed it up, filled the cracks up around it. Any cracks you got inside, around your house, around your doors, around your windows, or any cracks you got around your baseboards or your crown molding, they can shoot the radiation through there. So you have to seal everything up real tight. See what else? I'm trying to remember it exactly in order as it happened so that I won't miss nothing. Okay. Then sealing all the cracks. And then I finally got to a place where I had about 90% of the radiation eliminated inside the house after, you know, eliminating everything and turning off my power and stuff like that. And I just kept every night when I could sense the radiation now a lot. Now normally you can't smell the radiation. Okay. You can smell like a smog, or you might smell like smoke, or it might smell like old tobacco or something, or it might just smell like burning electrical wires, you know. But most of the time, you can't smell this radiation when it's in the house. But it'll get down in your lungs. You'll breathe it in. You'll have bronchitis, and it could turn into pneumonia. You'll have sinus problems. You'll have headaches. You'll be sick. You may throw up. You may get nauseous. You have all kind of symptoms. You may have memory loss, cognitive dysfunction. In other words, you can't figure stuff out. It'll affect you in all kind of ways. But like I said, you can't smell the radiation unless it's strong enough to where it's actually putting off the smog smell or the smoke or the tobacco. If it gets strong enough, you can smell that. You will know that there's a smog in your house. If it gets thick enough, you'll know. But in order for me to be able to detect the radiation, I was using the Vicks salve in my nose. I just put the medicated Vicks salve in my nose. Now, I'm not telling everybody to do this because some people, they can't tolerate the medicated sensation inside the nose. But I started putting the Vicks salve in my nose, and that way that became like a radiation detector for me, because when the radiation hit my nose, or when it hit that Vicks salve, it produces like a bitter or burning. It'll be like a burning sensation, and it'll be like a bitter taste in the mouth. So I had to use the Vicks salve in my nose in order to detect when the radiation was hitting me. And the minute I felt the bitter taste in my mouth, that's when I'd jump up and I'd start looking for the source, whatever they were using. So yeah, for the electromagnetic frequencies and the radiation that comes from that, these are the things that I had to do. Now, it's important for people to know that these weapons are invisible. You cannot see these weapons, but they come out of deep holes in the ground. If you're a target individual, you're probably going to have at least one of these deep holes somewhere in your yard, and you're most likely going to find it next to your bedroom or your living room, or the places you spend the most time, because that's where they're going to dig them, the places where they know you're going to be sleeping or you're going to be spending the most time, so they can hit you. And these weapons, and they're invisible, like I said, they're stealth. You can't see them with your naked eye. But if you have an infrared camera, it will pick them up at nighttime, or at least mine did. Now, I got photos of it, and for anybody who wants to look at those photos, go to my YouTube channel. There's a video on there about the electronic weapons, pictures that I have of. But anyway, these weapons come out of the ground. They can come out in daytime or night. And when they come up out of the ground, they're going to start looking for a power source, okay? Their number one power source is going to be your power pole, your box at your pole outside. They're going to hit that first. So you're going to have to cover that up. I recommend covering your smart meter with something, and then covering up your the inside of your breaker box with something. Make sure you tape it up good so they can't get in. They're going to hit that first, and if they can't hit that, then they're going to start looking for another power source around your house, like your outside electrical outlets, and then, of course, batteries in your car, your lawnmower, your security camera, anything you have outside that has a power source, they will hit it. And then if they can't find anything outside, then they'll come inside. Of course, well, they come inside anyway. Well, of course, when they find the power source, they start shooting it in your house. But they can hit anything inside your house that has a power source. Your electrical outlets, all your electronics, anything that's electric, anything that's battery operated, they'll hit all of that and beam the radiation inside your house. And like I said, they can come through the electrical wiring, and they can beam this radiation up around your crown molding, around your baseboards, any crack you got in your house. They're going to do it. They are relentless. They don't stop at nothing. They always find something to hit you with. So I'm trying to think if that's everything, if I've covered everything. But anyway, this has been going on for 3 years. Like I said, it's been a process of elimination, and I felt like I finally got everything eliminated, you know, inside and outside my home that they could hit, you know, and they could hit to beam me with the radiation. And then once I got to this place a couple of months ago, I realized that maybe I finally had got my home to where I wasn't sensing any more radiation, you know, that much radiation inside the house. And then after I got that pretty much eliminated, then they started hitting my air conditioning unit and pulsing the Freon through the ductwork. Now that's going to be a whole new video. I ain't even going to go into that right now. Right now I just want to cover the electrical system and the frequencies that are coming through the electrical system, and how the radiation is being pulsed inside the house, okay? I think that pretty much covers everything for the electricity. I'm going to come back later. I'm going to do another video about the ductwork, the air conditioning and heating units, and how they hit them, and how they send the Freon. Or I don't know. Well, I don't know how they do it, but I'm going to talk about the Freon coming through the ductwork and getting inside the house and making you sick, okay? And then after that, I'll do another video about the gas, because they also hit the propane gas tanks, gas lines. But right now, it's just electricity. I hope I've covered everything with electricity. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot to mention the lasers, okay? In the beginning, after I started feeling the frequencies hit my head, I noticed one night, and usually you don't see these during the day, okay? It's usually at night. I was sitting at the table, peeling an apple, and I saw this little red laser come through the window in the kitchen and hit me in the chest. Now, it didn't hurt. I didn't feel anything when it hit me in the chest, okay? But that night, after I went to bed, my chest started getting heavy. I started having breathing problems, and I had a lot of pain. I had a lot of chest pain. So these little lasers that they shoot through the windows, and I'm pretty sure this is done with the weapons that come out of the ground. But these lasers that hit you in the chest, I also had one come through the living room window and hit me in the head. If they hit you in the head, you're going to have a lot of headaches, and you're going to have a lot of dizziness and nausea, uh, and maybe some memory loss. I mean, it depends on where they hit you. But I actually saw these lasers, and they look like little darts when they hit you. When they come through the window, it looks like a little dart. I've seen the red ones, I've seen the blue ones, and they also have some white ones. Now, if you're sitting in the living room and you've got your curtains pulled back and the sun's coming in your living room, you're not going to see these white ones. You're not going to be able to see these little white ones that hit you because they're going to blend in with the sunlight. And I think that's what was happening to my mother, because she always sat on that same place on the couch in the living room with the windows open every day, and she always said, something's hitting me in the chest and cutting off my air. And I thought, well, Mom, what could be hitting you in the chest? At that time, we didn't know. I didn't know all this was going on at that time. And now I know, when I look back on it and I remember what she was saying, they were hitting her in the chest with these lasers all day long, cutting off her air. So, yeah, if you're having breathing problems, now breathing problems can be caused from the radiation, from the frequencies, from a lot of other things, but they can also be caused from the lasers hitting you in the chest and the back. So, if you're having breathing problems, you're having a heaviness in your chest, you might want to think about covering the windows in your house, especially in the rooms where you spend the most time, your kitchen, your living room, your bedrooms. And then you may want to start protecting your chest and your back. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. At nighttime, I always wear my bubble foil vest over my chest and my back, and then I wear my hat over my head. But if you're in your kitchen and you're cooking or you're doing stuff and all of a sudden your back starts hurting or your chest starts hurting and you start getting short of breath for no reason, I can tell you right now they're sending those little lasers and frequencies through your windows and hitting you in the chest, hitting you in the back, and they're hitting you in the head. So if you cover your windows with, you can use the bubble foil. I got mine covered with bubble foil. Sheet metal would be better if you can do that. I can't work with sheet metal. I don't have the tools to put it up. If you can put sheet metal over your windows, that would be better. But I use the bubble foil over all my windows in my kitchen. All the windows in my living room are covered. All the windows in my bedroom are covered. The windows in my bathroom is covered. Every room that I use the most, the windows are covered because of these lasers that they shoot through the windows and the frequencies. So, yeah, that's all another part of it. So I forgot to mention that earlier, because that happened probably earlier in that first year. The darts did, when I saw the little dart looking things coming through the window, and I knew I saw it because it hit me. It hit me in the chest. I saw it. And like I said, I didn't feel anything when it hit me, but later on is when it hurts. So, yeah, if you're a target individual and you're having the frequencies come through your windows, you need to cover your windows with something. You need to do everything that I'm talking about in this video if you want to survive. The electrical part, okay, that's just the electricity. I hadn't even started on the rest of it. But I'm going to go for now. I think that covers all the electrical or the EMF radiation part that's coming from the electrical system. And I hope that this will help somebody, okay? I love you guys.